Have you ever took a journey to the other side? Come on, take a ride. Have you ever took a journey? We gon' feel alive.
All right, guys. Hey, welcome to Breakfast with the Boys. I'm the Thrill, Tony the Thrill Hill. Love to talk to you guys. We're on episode 3. I'll get a chance to visit with you and my colleagues. I had Tony Dorsett on before, TNT Connection, Drew Pearson, a dynamic duo, two peas in a pod, and we got a special one for you today. And, Anth, I'm digging away everything's happening. This is turning out to be a dream come true, and especially with the guests that I have today. And, of course, our other guys were fantastic. But tell them a little bit about what's going on, man.
You have been digging it, huh? You got a little reunion action here about every week. I'll introduce our guests here in a second, but first 2 episodes have been a lot of fun, man. We've gotten some good food in here. Before we got in today, because we didn't want to have food all over our mouth, we had to go get some Desperados, tacos, some breakfast burritos. If you guys haven't had that, one of the original Mexican spots out here in Dallas.
All right, give Desperados a plug. Okay,
you got
like
to,
that.
man. Hey,
Okay.
St. Patrick's Day is coming up, the Lower Greenville Avenue. That's where I'll be.
Okay.
But yeah, man, before we get into it, you guys know I always like to jig and talk about my man Kurt McGirt for the intro song. That's always a good time. But let's go ahead and jump into it, man. So, I've had the TNT Connection. I've had 2 peas in a pod in here today. And now what we'll learn later is I had the man that you one time idolized your game after. I've got Captain Comeback himself, Roger Staubach, 2-time Super Bowl winner, NFL Man of the Year, 6-time Pro Bowler, Hall of Famer, Heisman winner, Maxwell winner. I could go on for days, but we want to get the show started. So welcome to the show, Roger, and thank you for coming to Breakfast with the Boys.
Well, it's great being here, and with old number 80, it was a great player that came to us in the mid-'70s, and we had a fantastic receiver in Drew Pearson, but we needed a Tony Hill also.
Well, Raj, when I played,
and number 80 was pretty darn good, boy, I tell you, and it took us to a Super Bowl pretty soon.
I'm loving you, Raj. Hey, and I'm loving you so much is that I don't know if you know that, but I was I was a quarterback in high school. All right, here's the deal. I wore number 12. The guys that I idolized are guys, my dad, I lived in Southern California, so that's the cool thing. Living in Southern California, being a Catholic, you go to church on Saturday, Sunday, you got football all day. If you remember my dad, man, this guy eat, slept, and drank football, and so we had the great situation. Yeah. On Sundays, 10 o'clock is the first game, 1 o'clock's the second game, and 4 o'clock's the third game. All day Sunday, that's what all we do is watch sports. But my dad would say, look, or Tony or Anthony, he says, hey, if you want to be great, if you want to make it in the big league, this is what you have to do. And I used to share that with you as well. I mean, hey, pattern your size, find somebody that you like. And so my guys were number 12, Joe Namath. I had Joe Namath, Joe Cap, Jefferson Street Joe. You remember him with Pittsburgh over there? And I went back with Joe Cap. That's a good one. Along with James Shaq Harris. But my main man was number 12, the Dodger, Roger Staubach, man. And so I was told to pattern myself after you, or I tried to. And I ran the ball. I could run, I could pass, I can drop back. And that was my idol. But, Raj, who inspired you? Who did you look up to?
Well, I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, so I was as a kid, a long time ago. The Cleveland Browns were a team, and, Otto Graham and all those guys. Again, it goes back to Otto Graham. There's a lot of quarterbacks after that I sure looked up to, but Otto Graham was. I was a kid, and when I was in high school, and I was in the secondary, in the
defense.
Yeah, but the coach said, Roger, what we want to do, we want to switch you to quarterback, and I didn't want to be a quarterback. And he said, well, we're watching you play baseball. So our assistant coach was my baseball coach. And he switched me to quarterback and changed my life. So I played quarterback my senior year in high school. And so I grew up in Cincinnati. And then at that time, the Cleveland Browns were a hot commodity. And Otto Graham was a pretty darn good quarterback.
Wait a second. So we know what I've learned in the last couple of weeks. You were the softest out of all the boys.
What do you mean softest?
Roger started playing defense. Drew went both ways. TD said he was a defensive back. Roger, growing up, when he was trying to tell me to play,
The softest.
he was the softest. All he ever used to tell me is, you last longer when you don't get hit. You don't want to be hitting anybody out here. And this is all making sense, man. Everyone was going two ways, but you, Roger, is over here an original defensive power before he go into quarterback.
Well, and that's interesting you say that, Anthony. I'm an offensive player. Basketball, I'm an offensive player. Baseball, I'm an offensive player. Roger, hey, I was a pitcher. I played shortstop, but for the big games, I was a quarterback. I was a pitcher. I struck out 18 batters in a game and lost. Because I didn't listen to my dad. My dad's giving me signals on the sideline. You can only imagine it. And I shook it off. I said, no, I don't do it. I'm going fastball. Guy hits it out the right face. Hey, at seventh inning, last inning, I've struck out 18 batters. This guy hits a home run. Home run, we lose 2-1.
Well, Thrill is a lot like me in a way. I played baseball through college. I batted .420 one year at the Naval Academy, and we were in the Ivy League. It was the Army, Navy, and the Ivy League, and just in baseball.
Right.
And baseball was my sport. That's how they switched me to quarterback because they saw my arm in baseball. But
man, the thing about baseball though, the reason I didn't play baseball in college, I didn't enjoy practice. Practice was so boring. I just didn't enjoy practice. I loved to play the games. Infield, was cool, but other than that, I didn't enjoy practice. So I said, man, I'm not playing this. And and I loved basketball. Matter of fact, when we have these conversations, Raj, I just go on a tangent, I just go off and we're talking baseball, but now I'm going to basketball because I'm going to go into basketball is that, and what I remember, and there's a lot of things that I remember which I'll talk about, but going over to Roger's house for basketball. It was like going to, it's like, the guy who does 3-on-3 right now with the NBA. What's the guy's name?
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube. We had Ice Cube in Roger's backyard back in the day. If you made it in his heart, you had to be able to play in his backyard. But you remember back in the day. You had you had Shaq and guys that came in the back. He had stars coming back there, man. And, if you wouldn't pass on the ball, we were screwed. If you missed a shot, you were screwed. So it was a tough deal.
Yeah. Well, that having Thrill, he was a fantastic football player. I was on the team for 11 years, and I didn't start. I played eight of those 11 years, and we were in 4 Super Bowls. And when we got Drew Pearson, I thought I'd died and gone to heaven, And, and then we got Tony Hill, and we had the best receivers in football. And that daggone second loss to the Pittsburgh, the Steelers were a great football team, Bradshaw and all those guys. But the second time we played them, we were really a great team. We had Tony at that time. We had Drew. We had Dorsett. We had Randy. We just had a great team, and Tony was one heck of a football player. He was.
And I didn't pay him to say that.
No, I know.
You guys to know that.
It's just that I remember you came out to practice in the off season, and I was out there. And I knew right away when Drew was a free agent. So I don't know what did you have?
Well, I was going to ask Anthony to talk a little bit about this, but Raj, you may not remember this story though. But I definitely remember this story. As you said, you used to live out in Canyon Creek back in the day, right?
Yeah.
And so you, I guess, we're out of practice. And my first year I played. I was on the team. My second year I started playing. I ended up starting. And
you were just returning punch the first year, right?
Yeah. Well, I didn't do that until the last game of the season. I got the game ball and let me do it during the playoffs. I saw zero action. Matter of fact, the one game I went in for Drew he got hurt. I went in there for 2 plays. You throw me 2 quick passes, and next thing I know, I've seen Drew come over. Hey, come on back, get out of here, buddy. Hey, you had your shot. But here's the thing, though, Raj. Canyon Creek. So this is my idol. I'm playing with my idol. He invites me to come over to the house. All right, So we come over to your house, and we're gonna go jogging. I'm not a jogger, man. I'll run. I'll catch 800 passes from Raj. You throw the ball, but jogging just wasn't my thing. So I've never been to Canyon Creek at all. So Raj takes me out on this jog. What are you going to say? You got number 12 highlight? I can't say, hey, I don't want to jog.
Wait, hold on. And for context here, was this as you're trying to get playing time? Or
yes.
You're doing everything you can to make sure you're his guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But here's the funny thing about it. Absolutely. So here's the thing about it, though. So we're jogging, right? And we're jogging. I don't know where I'm at. We're just rolling and rolling. And then, we've been jogging for about 20 minutes. It could have been 8 minutes, but it felt like 4 hours. And I said, hey, man, hey, I'm not running anymore. I'm stopping. I mean, I stood up to my quarter. I'm not running anymore. I'm stopping. He says, okay, well, I'll see you at the house. I said, see you at the house? I don't know how to get to the house.
This is pre-Uber Google Maps, huh?
And he left me. Hey, Raj, I sat there. I didn't know if I was going to run or not. I sat there as you're going further and further. I said, I probably said a few other things, but I followed you home. So I just want to tell you, hey, that hurt me bad. That was one of those things that was a tough thing to accomplish from.
Yeah. Hey, Raj, curious because he's told me that story before about how long you had him running. Is that something that, man, all your life just used to working out? Or is that something that you really established while you were in the Naval Academy? Because I'll tell you, playing at Colgate, the Patriot League for basketball, Navy and Army was in our division. And I can recall on game days, these guys were going through full-on lifts and workouts before the game. And I'm thinking to myself, like, wait a second, I'm trying to get off my legs and stay fresh. These guys were on 2-a-days, and then they were playing a game. Is that where you kind of established, that work ethic and the way you approach the game?
Well, in the Navy, I just stayed in shape. I didn't really jog a whole lot, but I started lifting weights and doing different sprints and things like that, and running more than I'd ever run before. But when we got to Dallas in the 70s, it was really the beginning of working out, getting ready for the season. In the off season, a lot of players they didn't do anything until the season started. But that all changed, and we had Coach Landry, and he really put together a program in the off season for us, and it held a lot of it was running and sprinting both, and so that's when I really began to run in the off season was with the Dallas Cowboys in the early 70s, and remember we were checked off if we came out there to work out. Remember that?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's funny you say that. So, gosh, Stanford, we had a poor athletic facility. I mean, for back in the day. But when I came to the Cowboys, I thought that Stanford had a great facility. I could not believe we're over there off of Abrams Road over there, and that little shack over there. And this is America's team. I got Randy White, Ed Too Tall Jones, Harvey Martin, Roger Staubach, Robert Newhouse. And I'm saying, wait a minute, this is not Dallas Cowboy football over here. And as a result, that was the play, and that's where all those epic things, the Dorsett race against Doug Donnelly. Were you there with that? You weren't there for the Doug Donnelly race, were you, I think?
I don't think so,
yeah.
But Tony was just was
Tony,
as fast as...
He could fly.
He was. I would say he was the fastest in the NFL at that.
Yeah, no, that's flat out. I was thinking, Raj, and again, I want to talk about you, but this is part of it. I think the worst thing that ever happened in my career with Roger Staubach was that, here, get this, so... My rookie year, I don't play any, I don't see any action at all. And so the next year, I start. I lead a team in receptions. I go to the Pro Bowl. The next year, I have a 1,000-yard season. Drew has a 1,000-yard season, and Dorsett has a 1,000-yard season, and we become the first group in the NFC to ever have 3,000-yard players on the same team.
Right.
Then the next year, I got 1,000 yards. I lead a team in receptions again. And we're just kicking butt, and then we lose the Rams that day. But what really upset me was the fact that that was your last year playing over there. Talk to me about that, because here's the deal. I'm going 1,000 with Raj, and all of a sudden my main man is gone. I'm whispering to him, hey man, I'm open. Hey, hey, just check me out. I know you're looking at Drew, but check me out. Yeah. How much did you miss of that?
Well, I was 38 years old. I was 27 when I started, so I had 11 years, and I really had pretty decent years at the end there. But I had really a lot of concussions, and And I'll tell you, Drew, it was, those concussions still affect me. Just kidding now. I know
that was a good one. I wasn't going to say anything.
No, but really, the concussions were pretty serious. And and then I separated my shoulder one year and everything. So it was really injuries that I probably had another couple years left in me, and I was really upset. But we had a guy, Danny White, that was one heck of a. Danny was a good football player. He was on the team. He was a kicker, punter, but he was a quarterback, and he was really good. So I knew when I retired, and I felt it was maybe a couple year or two early, that the Cowboys still had a quarterback. Danny White was a very good quarterback.
Yeah, and you said that correctly. Danny White was a very good quarterback. He was a good quarterback.
Yeah.
But see, understand this, Roger was a great quarterback.
Yeah.
You know, there's a distinct difference between Roger and Danny. And you know, and again, you know, just the camaraderie. I mean, you were a true leader on the team. I'm not saying anything about Danny, but I'm talking about you. But when you look up, you know, All-American player, this guy was it. You know, I mean, if you needed something, I mean, I knew there were players that had financial problems or just had some issues, so to speak. You know, they would reach out to Roger because they felt comfortable. You know, a lot of guys in them circumstances, you know, would not feel comfortable, you know, just disclosing some things that were negative in their lives, you know, and Roger, you were that guy. I'll never forget this, and which will appreciate you as well. Now I've got 3 girls, you know, I never knew anything about women other than dating. It was just my brother and I go up to Raj, you know, and I say, hey man, you know, how do you handle this? How do you do this? You know, you know, how do you do this over here, you know? And he goes, Tone, just keep on living, man. Hey, you know, just keep on living. It's part of life, you know. Yeah. I'm looking for a, you know, philosophical, you know, explanation over there. You go, hey, just keep on living. Enjoy the process. And, you know, I'll tell you what, it helped a lot just to a certain degree. Would you say that, Ann?
Yeah, I would say that. And, you know, something's funny. I hear you say Roger as not just the All-American player, but the All-American guy. And now knowing that he was giving you some parenting advice, I'm sure you recall this. I had just graduated college, and I don't know what I'm going to do for work, where I want to go. And my dad's like, hey, you need to go talk to the Staubach company or JLL at the time, right? And, you know, to talk about an internship and see it. And so you guys are gracious enough to have me in and just, you know, tell me a little bit about the industry. At 23 years old, I'm telling my dad, I'm like, hey, I want to go work at a marketing agency where it's real cool and it's a bunch of 20-year-olds. And my dad's like, hey, man, I hear you, but if you want to think about long-term, like commercial real estate, that's something you want to think about. I'm like, no, I'm good. So I go and take a job for $29,000 where I got a carpool to work, and I look back and like, you know, 5-6 years later, and I'm like, man, that's why you got to listen to your father, right? Like he was putting me on the right path. Yeah. And, you know, that just is a testament to your character when you say an All-American guy. You know, your receiver's calling you years later saying, hey, you know, will you have a conversation with my son trying to get his head on straight? Just wish I would have got it on straight earlier, man. That was a good time.
Yeah, see, things that, Raj, you don't realize, though, you know, my rookie year, you know, when you used to warm up, I was the guy that warmed you up. Because nobody really wanted to warm up with you. You know why? Because we're like 20 feet from you, and you're throwing the ball 1,800 miles an hour to show us that he's not getting any old anymore. Yeah. You know, I say, hey man, hey, you know, just chill. And here's the funny thing about it. I don't know if you recall, but again, I'm throwing this out because my memory's not the best as well. But you sponsored our basketball team, and I come up to your office over there to say, hey, thank you, blah blah blah. I'm not sure if you guys are with me or not. And you show me the office and et cetera, and you grab the ball. And I got all this hardware behind me over here, you know, I mean, trophies and all this stuff over there. You grab the ball and you fire it to me. You know, I mean, you sit up there, hey, Tone, catch this. No warning whatsoever. Just, hey, Tone, catch, and you fire it to me. And I've got one of these catches over here. I mean, if I miss this, I haven't caught, I don't know how long. If I miss this, you know, I'm destroying something over here. And then you say, hey, throw it right back to me. I said, no, I'm not giving it back to you, man. We're going to stop this right here. Yeah. I'm not taking any chances over here. Hey, so talk to me, man. You know, obviously the Hail Mary pass, huge. You know, and you know we had you know Clutch over here, 88 on last week, as a matter of fact, and he showed me a tattoo over here, and he said, man, that he's mimicking Roger Staubach's tattoo. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
What, my tattoo?
Your tattoo. I mean, do you have more tattoos?
No. I just, you know, I had one tattoo, and it was because of the Hail Mary pass. You know,
nice. So you're not going to break out the guns and show us over here, right?
No, it's a Hail Mary tattoo, but it was really, you know, part of my life. Grew up as a, you know, I'm still a Catholic family, and the Hail Mary pass was something that you know, when through the great pass and came in the locker room, and Drew made a heck of a catch, and we won the game. That was we had no timeouts left, and so they said, what were you thinking about when you threw that ball to Drew Pearson? I said, oh, well, I just closed my eyes and said a Hail Mary.
There you go.
And really that was the first time I just said that because being a Catholic and everything,
sure.
Hail Mary. But then it was the first time it was ever used in the NFL. In the NFL, some others said, well, no, somebody else said it a long time ago, and they said, well, no, and so it really went back and forth for a while. But the NFL recognized we had not heard that.
Yeah.
So I was always proud of being able to use the term Hail Mary, and in that game, that was Drew. Drew made the great catch, and we won the game, and it's been a big part of my life as far as of being the representative of the Hail Mary.
Big time play, no question about that.
Yeah.
Drew makes. I mean, you make it bad on a wide receiver, you make it really tough because you put the ball right on the money. I mean, if people who follow the Cowboys, one of our biggest plays was the Washington Redskins game for that, that 35-34 comeback win, and you throw the ball over me. You have a version of what happened, and I have a version. I thought I told you that, hey, man, I can beat this guy, which is Lamar Parrish. He was a cornerback. I said, this is in the last game of the season to go to the playoffs and et cetera. And we come back. We're down by, gosh, how many points were we? Were we down 13 going the last 2 minutes or something like that?
Yeah.
And so we're you hit me with a 66. You hit Drew with a 16 pattern. I got another with Joe Lavender. You remember that guy?
Oh,
over
yeah.
there? And so he was the cornerback. Well, bottom line is that we move the ball down. We're on the 8-yard line over here, and I'm telling Roger I can beat this because I got this guy in my hip pocket, because I've been beating him on this in route. He's not going to let me inside of him. So I give him a little dip and I break to the corner. Now, Roger's version is a little different, but I break to the corner over here, and Raj puts it in a bad position, man. He puts it right here in my arms. There's no excuse. If you miss the ball, there's no excuse.
Yeah.
I'd rather die for the pass, at least, there was some work, and, but I know I'm going to catch it, but he puts it right there, just as you did with for Drew in the Hail Mary pass. Now, your version of the play, I remember you talking about a 17 with Billy Joe on that play.
On the Hail Mary?
No, on the 35-34 game when when we're down there, and you said what was your version of that?
On the
game-winning catch, the one you threw to me.
Well, that was I think that was was that a 35 or
well, I think it was you said it was designed. It might have been a 17. What did we call it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Duke going across the middle or whatever.
Yeah.
The Billy Joe is our tight end, and this play was designed to him, and he said, "Hey, man, be alert. If they give you this look, I'm gonna throw you the ball." And that's exactly what happened. He put the ball on the money over there.
Yeah.
But again, I'm always I was always hitting Raj up. Hey man, let me give me some action. I'll make it happen.
Well, when we were down inside the 10-yard line, there's a number of things that I did that Coach Landry sent in plays and sometimes I called my own play.
We only wish you would have called him more.
Well, this
is from Drew and I's perspective.
But we had you and Drew in the and down around the goal line. The Hail Mary pass really was. I just told Drew to go deep. It was. And everybody else, I said, just get out of his way. And so really, so we really did some things at times. Especially around the goal line, and you were really, really good as far as getting open, and you're tall, and you were like playing basketball. You were very quick. You could do things, and so I'd be looking for you a lot down around the goal line, and between you and Drew, we really had a lot of success around the goal line, and once you get near the goal line, if you don't score, it's not good.
Yeah, so all the reasons that he was open. How often did he tell you he was open?
Well, Tony sometimes came back to the huddle, and he did talk a little bit. But he was very competitive. I mean, he was just he was a great athlete. And we played basketball together too, and we banged out each other. I remember you came over to my house one time, and we played in the backyard there, and we were.
Yeah, I know. I like how you put Cliff on me. He put Cliff Harris on me. Yeah, Cliff. Only thing he knew was how to hit somebody. He couldn't dribble. He couldn't shoot. He couldn't cover. But if you went to the basket, you're getting clotheslined, or you're getting hacked. You earned every basket, which was a strategic move for Raj. Because one thing about when you're playing 3-on-3, that's what we're playing full court in his backyard 3-on-3. But you got one guy. That Cliff was on your team, which I'd have him on my team, because the bottom line, all he's going to do is either rebound or pass you the ball. So that's a plus, that's one guy's not taking shots. And then the other guy, he had to be able to make the open shot, and then Roger's the general. But, those are some good days. But here's something that, again, I digress and I go on something. But my rookie year, I don't remember much, Roger, but there's a few things that I do remember. And one in particular was my rookie year, we're playing against the Philadelphia Eagles up in Philadelphia. You drop back, you scramble, and we're on about the 30-yard line. You scramble, and the next thing you know, you take off, but you get caught on the 1-yard line. But here's the catch. Great run catch. So we're sitting in the film. We won the game. We're sitting in the film. I'm seeing no action. I'm the rookie right here. And I go, hey, Raj, man, I remember a day you would have scored on that play. And Raj sits back for about, the film, and the guys go, ooh, and Raj, you sit back there for a few seconds, and then your response was, hey, Tone, how many Heisman trophies did you win? I said, okay. Hey, that's how you put somebody in their place. Hey, that was a good one.
I've used that a few times.
It's something that I think is funny now, hearing that you're chirping him and talking to him a little bit like that. And you've mentioned that you said he was always open. When you knew that the Cowboys were in good hands after you left, you said, hey, Danny White's got this. Did you warn Danny White for how much he was going to tell him he was open? Or did he have to find that out himself?
Oh, no, I didn't warn him. No. Danny White was he was really a good quarterback. Yeah, he's the years I had with Dallas. So we had almost like two different teams. Those the early years, with Bob Lilly and Leroy Jordan, and our defense was always good, and then our offense really is, because Coach Landry really ended up having me throw more than normal. We were really more of a running team and a defensive team, and we were a good team, and we had a great coach. But he just called me and he said, we're gonna throw the ball more, and we're actually gonna put you in the shotgun formation.
That's right.
So we were the first team in the NFL they might have had the shotgun 30 years before us, but in the years we were in, we put the shotgun in, and it really, especially on third down, on passing downs, and it was where he would say to me, Roger, I know you run sometimes, but you're going to be able to see better now in the shotgun if you want to run. And that's how he explained. And I said, well, yeah, that's great, Coach. And so we put in the shotgun, and that made a big difference. We were at the head of the class as far as putting in the shotgun formation.
Well, you're a captain comeback, and the reason why, though, in my opinion, again, this is my opinion, is that we would play a conservative game, because Roger's all about, not Roger, Coach Landry was about tendencies, and it was a huge advocate of that, following tendencies. And so, Drew and I, we didn't mind being down in the third, fourth quarter, because you know what? When we were down in third and fourth quarter comes, we're getting some action. The ball is going up the air. Captain Comeback is making some plays, and it's all about us. Yeah. And we, unfortunately, I never wanted to lose, but we didn't mind being down, because that's when we opened it up, because we were pretty predictable. That's how good we were. We'd occasionally fool you with a play action pass on first down, but we're pretty much Dorsett left, Dorsett right, Dorsett up the middle, and then we'd, hit Drew and myself, and, we were predictable. And that's how good we were. We'd move the ball downfield. But come that fourth quarter, and we're down by, some points, hey, all we do is, hey, Drew, I look at Drew, hey, put your mouthpiece in, we're going to get some action, baby. It's going our way. and that's what happened. And here's the thing, you're talking about Danny and you're talking about Raj. There was a distinct difference from a communication standpoint. I used to come to you. I don't think I came to you on every play, but I came to you a lot and said, I can beat this guy, blah, blah, blah. I did that with Danny, And Danny told Coach Landry, he said, "Hey man, this guys keep bothering me. I can't concentrate. I never knew anything about it." Tom hits me up in the meeting. He goes, "Okay, guys, we got one guy who thinks he's the coach on our team, and he's trying to call plays. If you want to continue calling play, you can call him on Greenville Avenue." I said, "Whoa!" And he's looking right at me. I said, "Whoa!" And essentially, they're saying like, "Hey, you got to chill out." And so I missed that from having you from that standpoint. I know I bugged you pretty hard, but you handled me pretty good. So I just want to say thank you from that perspective.
Yeah. Well, we had a great coach, Coach Landry. I thought he tried to do too much because he was good on offense and he was great on he was a good defensive coach. So he would be working with defense in practice. We would be an offense. He'd be over there with offense. But he was really, really a good coach. And then when and a quarterback does not run, you drop back to pass, and I would run.
Oh yeah.
And I ran quite a bit. And I remember watching films. He'd just after a while he'd just say, "You're going to learn someday, Staubach." So I really, and then he put the shotgun in for us because he said, "Hey, if you're going to run, you're going to be able to see better." And so that was put in there for running more so than passing. But it turned out, again, he was creative. We put it in there, and it became a big deal in sports. Actually, more teams did the shotgun, and then when I was with the Cowboys and everything else, the shotgun was a big deal.
So let me get this right. So what I found out today is that you coined the Hail Mary. You guys started the shotgun, and then what was it? Was this during his time where the linemen would stand up between calls?
Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
Yeah. Not necessarily stand up between calls. Well, in formation, Roger, you know how the guys would come up and go in their stance. You go 4-3 set. When he said set.
Yeah. That was before I got with there. They were doing that, up and down like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we were the first ones, but it worked to our advantage and to our disadvantage. You remember talking when Drew was talking about Mel Blunt, so to speak, and some of the cornerbacks. But Roger say 4-3 set. He basically talk about the defense and set. So essentially, he calls out. Am I correct? He'd call the defense out, and then our guys would go up and then come back down. But as receivers, we'd always had to spread out and go wide, or come in, depending on to get to our final location. We would never start off where we're supposed to be. We'd end up in a certain place. Well, it'd be crazy, like we get ready to go 4-3 set. I'm lined up and tight, and the cornerback he's standing out there on the outside, just waiting for me to come back out there for him. We never surprised him from that standpoint, and it was crazy. But we established that type of situation. We used motion to set up, to determine what the defense was going to do. Because if the guy didn't follow you, we were in zone. Or am I correct on that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So so we were the innovators from that standpoint, and again, we had some plays. There's my biggest game, my biggest game. I had 7 catches. I wrote this down. That's why I know that. I had 7 catches for 213 yards in that game. Roger, we're playing Philadelphia. And I told you I can beat, the cornerback on the post. And so you called a 16 route, which is Drew come across the middle. Billy Joe kind of clears out, and I clear out over the top on the post. And you said, "Hey, I'll check you. If you're open, I'll check you out." And you put them on the money. The point being is that having that conversation and having a quarterback to listen to you and say, "Hey, look, man, if you're open, I'll get it to you." And that's exactly what happened. So, again, that was a huge moment in my life over there.
Yeah, I can, that 16 route was, set up for mostly Drew over the middle and the tight end across. But, again, Tony, here we are, we're talking together, but he was one great football player. And so I would, I knew that. And, you'd be out there as a wide receiver on the left side. And I'd say, hey, if you run a good post on that, I'll on the 16 route, which we didn't. But it was because of you. I mean, you were really, really a great football player.
Well, I mean, again,
great receiver.
You would ask as well, though. I mean, hey, Tony, how's he playing you? Is he, if he's, is he playing blah 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 blah? That's huge in terms from necessarily from a wide receiver and a quarterback. But Drew and I used to talk about, we'd sit there and talk, but you come over and say, "Hey, Drew, You know, is he playing you inside? Is he playing you outside? You know, we didn't. You know, that was a distinct difference in terms of playing the game. And I think that. Again, this is from the young kid of, I don't know if you recall when I came in, I'm 20 years old coming to the Cowboys. I was a young buck and had a whole lot of energy over there, you know. It's from the standpoint of, you know, just having a quarterback communicate you and talk to you about, hey, this is how you become a professional. This is what you need to do.
Yeah, so as you're talking about, you know, Roger coming to you to say, like, hey, how's this guy playing? You see you guys could adjust routes. What do you all think about the way the game has changed when you see these guys running? They have basically every route seems to be an option route. And, you know, Rod, you said you guys started the shotgun, but that was primarily for you to run. Now, you know, these guys are throwing the ball 50, 60 times a game.
Yeah.
How do you think that would have translated for you all? I can see you smiling already thinking if you had the option route option, what that would look like. But what do you all think about that and how that you all probably paved the way for that and some of what you did?
Well, we had the option. When I said we didn't have an option, I mean, I think if Drew and I had an option route, you know, 1,000 yards, we would definitely be 1,800 yards, have an option for the simple fact that I had a cornerback lined up, head up inside, and I know that I got an option to go inside or outside. That was going to change the game because we had specific responsibilities. No matter what, if, for example, Leroy 16, or when I say Leroy 16 or wing 8 wide pull, bottom line, we had to release a certain way, you know, to make sure, or for example, 12 option, 12 A and B option. You remember that with Preston coming out of the backfield? Our whole thing was that release outside no matter what. But if we had the option like back what Cole has or guys in the flat, we didn't have that on the wideouts. The running backs had enough for the wideouts. It was pretty much you had to beat the guy to this area. I mean, if Roger's playing me inside and I got an inside route, I got to fake you somehow to encourage you that I'm going outside to get underneath you. I would have died and gone to heaven to know that we had option routes. And I can only imagine, Roger, how you would have felt with having option routes.
Well, yeah, we kind of had them sometimes on the, you know, running like a post corner, or you know, just you know, I had Drew a number of times just let him whatever he feels best. I'm gonna throw it, whether it's a corner, whether it's a post, and that made our passing game really. You know, we had some really great coaches, and Coach Landry was really more of a strong defense and a running game, but he really he was very creative, and he saw the vision of the passing game, and he changed a lot. We threw the ball more, we put the shotgun in, and you know, he understood that I could read defenses at least you know fairly good. So our passing game really improved a lot. Because we did a lot more of it too, and then we had you know, to have a Drew Pearson and a Tony Hill out there and in the early days too. We had Bob Hayes and Lance Rensel, and we didn't throw as much back then, and that's my first years there. But Coach Landry later on really became much stronger as far as recognizing how important the passing game was. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of messed up now that I've heard that you said you told Drew, hey, do whatever you want, man. I'll hit you. He never told me do whatever I want. I'll hit you.
He probably didn't want to hear you every time in the huddle.
Hey, Bob Hayes, you bring back, you know, here's a legend, you know. Talk to me about Bob Hayes, you know. How was it playing with Bob?
Well, Bob was, I would say today, would still be the fastest player on the football field. Would he run like a 9.1?
Yeah, that was back in the day. I mean, how's it throwing to him? I mean,
well, he had the speed, and I just remember some touchdown passes to him where I mean, it was a lot of fun. He didn't have all the really strong capabilities on catching the ball like you and Drew, but he could run, and he was just the best. I mean, his speed was the name of the game for him, and it was really fun playing. You know, sometimes with Bob Hayes, I'd have to throw the ball a lot quicker.
Yeah, right. I mean, that was my question.
Yeah,
you got to remember, Anthony, Bob Hayes, Olympic gold medalist. Hey, won a 100-yard dash. You know, back in the day, hey, there are a couple backs that might have been able to keep up close to him because you know, again, huge Cowboy fan watching Rodgers. I'm growing up and et cetera. But watching Bob Hayes, I mean, I think Roger take a 3-step drop for what you call our 9 route and let it go. For me, he'd take a 6-step drop, you know. But for Bob Hayes and Drew, for me and Drew, he'd take the 6-step. But for Bob Hayes, it's 3 and let it go, you know. And I got to think that had to be an eye opener, and which was innovative from you guys' standpoint as well. I mean, he did play in college football, but he was known for his track, and the Cowboys picked him up, and obviously a huge player for you guys.
Yeah, we were at, you know, the same years, and we played in the they had a college all-star game that, and that's when I first met him. And even in practice, the other players were just they just shake their head. And that's how fast he was.
Really?
I mean, he was fast. There was other guys that are fast.
Right. He was fast.
But Bob Hayes, when we were at, you know, it was a college all-star game when we played the pro team.
Sure.
And Bob Hayes was, in practice, as these coaches were saying, "Oh my God, this guy is really fast."
Well, hey, you know, family. You know, when we were on the show, we're always talking about. Again, Rod, you have 6 kids. Is that correct?
We have
5 girls and 1 boy, right?
Five kids.
5 kids, 4 boys, 4 girls and 1 boy.
4 girls, 1 boy. 15 grandkids.
How many grandkids?
15.
How do you handle that?
Well, we're lucky. We get to see them all the time. So I was an only child, so my parents just had to take care of me, and so I didn't learn enough. But my wife was one of 5. Marianne was. We met in the 4th grade, and
Nice.
I didn't start liking her until the 8th grade. Then we dated.
Not in the 8th grade, of course. I mean, you waited till.
No, we started dating in the 8th grade.
What?
8th grade.
8th grade.
Freshman in high school, we were dating, and we went off and on, and then she went to nursing school, and then I found out she's dating some doctor, and
What?
yeah, and I thought it was, I said, oh, we're in trouble, but that was when I was a junior at Navy, and then I won the Heisman, and she came right back to me. I always tell her, you came back to me when I won the Heisman.
I love it. But you didn't answer my question, though.
Oh.
How do you handle the grandkids? Hey, I've got 4. I got 3, and let me tell you something. Hey,
You got 4?
I got 4, but I got 3 that are operating right now. You know, we got a 2-month-old, all girls. Okay,
Yeah.
I got 3 girls and a boy in that order. But I can tell you right now, it's hell on wheels with my grandkids, and you got 15. How do you handle it?
Well, we get together now and then when they're all there together, but they come over in different parts of the family and everything. We got, I guess one of our children has the five of the kids, and they're growing up in those early years. I got a great wife, and she
Awesome.
she helps making sure that the kids are taken care of, the grandkids. And then we have the great grandkids are really a lot of fun now. We got 3 boys and a girl, and so it's there's always a little something that you wish they didn't do, but overall you love the heck out of them, and they're your life. They become your life as your kids and your grandkids, and I didn't think I'd be around for great grandkids, but I'm around for great.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing. You talk about some of the historic, and historical things that you've done, i.e., your parents, did both of them have diabetes, or just your dad?
My dad was diabetic.
Yeah. I don't know if you recall, but I was the honorary chairman for the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation, and because my brother was a diabetic and passed away, didn't take care of his health. But a part of me being a part of that was the influence that you had as far as being with nonprofit and being with the charities, and i.e. the American Diabetes Association. I got involved with the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation, which was a great cause. But those are some of the noble things that you did. I mean, you've worked with a ton of charities, and I'm sure they're still pulling at you. I mean, I've been retired for 400 years, and I still get a couple calls. So I can only imagine you being 402 years. How your life may be.
Well, it's busy still, but it's not like it was when I had my own real estate firm, and Marianne was. I mean, she's just been a fantastic part of my life as my wife, and she really was able to take care of the kids more than me. I was with them and everything, but when we had a real estate firm, we opened almost close to 60 offices around the country. And,
Wow.
so I was traveling like 2 to 3 days a week, and that was the time that I was really, it really was tough. But I also realized that we had a chance of building a very good business, and we did, and it was a good real estate business we had, and so I had a long period there where our kids were growing up, and I was traveling quite a bit.
So because I want to make sure there's the staple question of our podcast, and then before we wrap, I want to make sure we get to it.
Absolutely.
So Pops, you got to bring us on home and back to breakfast with the boys.
Yeah, before we do that, Roger, our show is Breakfast with the Boys, a smorgasbord. If you come here, you get a chance to eat anything you want. You enjoy anything that you want. And one of the things that we got to do is talk about breakfast, man. So, Raj, what is your favorite food for breakfast?
Well, the breakfast that I have quite a bit. I have, as I said, a great wife, and she... I'd like to have 2 eggs over easy and a couple of pancakes and bacon.
Ooh,
And,
I hadn't heard that one.
It's and a lot of times I just eat cereal with fruit on it. And but my favorite breakfast is the eggs over easy with pancakes and or either that or scrambled eggs.
What about grits? You ever eat any grits?
I'm not a gritter. Yeah.
Anthony, we asked Dorset, was he a gritter? And he's a grit guy. And Anthony asked him, Anthony said, sugar or butter?
Sugar or salt.
Sugar or salt?
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go. And this, Rod, you're the first one so far who's still eating breakfast. So we got to start making sure breakfast with the boys are doing it.
Yeah, I'm a big breakfast.
Yeah, Tony and Drew, they said they don't eat breakfast basically, right?
Yeah.
No, not too much.
When do they eat?
That's what we wondered. So they ate with us because breakfast with the boys. So last time we had some burritos, and we keep it coming. But hey, as usual, Roger, thank you for joining us, man. It's always a pleasure to hear you all catch up on old stories. And when we close out here, we got to give a shout out to Murray Media, the beautiful studio that we're in, murraymedia.net, by the way.
There you go.
So thanks to the fellas and making sure that we look right. But hey, we'll see you all next week. Breakfast with the boys. Pops, anything you want to close with?
No, we guys got to give a little dap to Tyler and Doug back there. They're making things happen. And Scott, of course, these guys are for real. And Raj, of course, man, hey, you're the main man, man. There's no question about it. I wish I could have had you for my whole career. It was a joy, it was a pleasure, an honor to be able to serve under your helm. I mean, you were the man, and I'm glad that I patterned myself after you.
Well, it's always it's great to talk and be with old football players, and it's a shame you lose some great friends, great teammates, and but you're also around the Tony Hills of the world, the Drew Pearsons, and I get a chance with both. I've got coming up here in 2 weeks. We got some of my Naval Academy teammates. We're getting together with our families, and we do that almost every other year. So it's great to still reminisce about the old days.
Hey, that's the man. We're going to close with that line right there.
Have you ever took a journey to the other side? Come on, take a ride. Have you ever took a journey? We gon' feel alive. You gon' feel